Amerifornia is coming, and bidding war is getting out of hand across America. I've been receiving a ton of emails from people all over the United States emailing me, just pouring in emails, just pouring. You have no idea. So anyways, so what is Amerifornia? Amerifornia is coming, and basically what is going to happen to America, it will encompass all of America. Now that it's a liberal-led run country, it's going to become like Canada, Australia, the UK, and New Zealand. What do these countries have in common? They speak English, but one more thing. Their real estate is out of control. So, guys, Amerifornia is coming now. Now, you'll start seeing a mass exodus, and you've been seeing for many years, a mass exodus out of these big cities. Now, Amerifornia is going to be special because they're a couple of years behind Canada. Where in Canada, you want a one-bedroom condo in Toronto, you got to prepare close to $800,000. And most people in Canada have to save up 21 years. Average wage to upper average wage earners in Canada need to save for 21 years to put a down payment on a one-bedroom, and 29 years for a non-condo detached home in Canada. 29 years of savings. So basically, when you're done high school, you got to work 29 years. You're almost 50, and you are putting a down payment on a home. That's how bad it's gotten. And there's no correction in sight. So what is happening with Amerifornia? Well, it's going to be this very interesting pattern that's going to happen, and it's going to be the same that's happened across the Commonwealth. Now, let's start off with Seattle. Now, Seattle is the new Vancouver when it comes to Chinese housing investment. This is from 2019, and a lot of people will argue with me and say, Mike, you're crazy. Chinese investing has been dead. It's been dead for 10 years. There's no foreign investing coming into. No. It's so much you guys have no idea. Intense government interventions creating unaffordable housing market conditions for foreign investment in Metro Vancouver have prompted a surge in mainland Chinese investors down south to Seattle. Now, let me explain to you what happened, okay? Vancouver imposed, the city of Vancouver north, and the next major city north of Seattle in Canadian territory, imposed a foreign buyer's tax in the tail end of 2016. It got so bad, affordability was so far out of reach for Canadians born and raised that they had to put a foreign buyer's tax, but a lot of people left. And they went to Seattle, south, and other people went east to Toronto and destroyed that market too. That market is just, everyone's escaping from Toronto right now. Now, Seattle wasn't like this up until 2016. So if you look at the tail end of 2016, you'll start to see the pattern of all these homes being put into corporate numbers and brochures only in Mandarin, thick brochures only printed in Mandarin to bring in wealthy investors to get their money out of China. And what has happened with that? Well, it's filed, homeowners became wealthy overnight, and it's turned cities like Seattle, Portland, across California into empty shells. And those empty shells, basically, they're going to have to keep raising taxes to keep up, to fill their coffers so they could fund the infrastructure. And that's been a major issue across the Commonwealth in cities like Sydney, Melbourne, Auckland, New Zealand, Toronto, Vancouver, London, England. Londoners can't even live in London. That's how bad it's gotten. So here it is. So it started with like this in the Northwest, where they were just competing for the highest bidders. Now, keep in mind, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, all these other countries, minus America, was highly, it's only the blue states in America, the blue states like New York, Illinois, California, Oregon, those states, Washington State, were competing for rich investors like Canada was, and their GDP was from those states were based off of real estate and making it look good, but realistically it's impoverishing the locals. And that's what happened realistically, if you want to get realistic about this. Now you have a mass exodus out of these cities, so let's take a look at what's happening. Bidding wars across America won't be a new thing. So this one, I can't open, but it says, Vancouver tax pushes Chinese to $1 million Seattle homes, and that was back in 2016. And a majority of these homes are in corporate numbers. They don't even know who owns them, but they're in corporate numbers, private identities, private everything. So let's move on here. So here it is, guys. Here's just how competitive the housing market is right now. This is from March 12th. This is in the United States. Bidding wars are the new norm. Real estate broker at Redfin reported a whopping 56% of its offers faced bidding wars in January. The ninth straight month for 50% plus bidding war rate. The competition was the stiffest in Salt Lake City, Utah, where 90% of all offers were met with bidding wars. San Diego, San Francisco, Bay Area, Denver, and Seattle rounded the top 5 most competitive markets. Again, Seattle's up there, San Francisco, the whole West Coast, from Vancouver, Canada, even north of Vancouver, Canada, all the way down to the Tijuana, San Diego border. It's all bidding wars. For foreign investing has crippled that whole coast of America, and it's blue, right? And that's created a major issue for, again, affordability issues. Now, homes are moving fast. The same thing happened across the Commonwealth. In Australia, homes are moving fast. This competition has homes selling at record-breaking speeds. According to Redfin data, 55% of homes were under contract within 2 weeks, and 43% were under contract in just 1 week. Average time on market shrunk too. For a week ending February 27, homes sold in 6 days after the year prior, to according Realtor.com. Now, what's happened is a lot of people in foreign countries have a lot of these sell bots, where they have these bots that they program to find real estate when it gets to a certain level, or when something gets listed, they get alerted immediately. And that's what's crippled a lot of Canadian real estate, was a lot of these selling bots that they have, where people, foreign investors, will be on the computer. Now, let me tell you guys a little story here. If you're living in the United States, there's one guy, and I'm trying to get him on the show. His English is atrocious, but he's never been to Canada, okay? And he's never been to Australia. He's never been to both countries. But he owns 100-plus properties in Canada, and he owns over 200-plus properties in Australia. But he's never been to either country. He speaks English because he learned it in Hong Kong or something. But he's never been to either country. But he owns more property, than the wealthy American would. You know what I'm saying? So foreclosures are in high demand, that's for sure. And supply is extremely limited, and then they're going to obviously blame COVID on that. The bottom line, it's a dog eat dog market out there. So if you're planning to buy a new property, make sure you are ready. If you're financing the purchase, get approved for your loan before you put in a bid. You should also consider removing contingencies or two if you can manage it. So basically, back in the day, back before the whole Asian invasion or the Chinese takeover or economic takeover, things were different. People would put an offer on a home, they get an inspector, they get it checked. Now, a lot of homes are selling sight unseen. That's why Amerifornia is coming. And now let's go over here. Now, I got a few emails I'm going to read for you guys here. So we got right here. So I can't open these because I have to get a subscription. Metro Phoenix home prices still hit another record, expected to keep climbing in 2021. And this is during a massive pandemic where everybody's out of work, everyone's running out of forbearance, and that's what's happening there. And I think there's another one here from a few days ago. Metro Phoenix home prices hit new record as bidding wars and sales soar. So there it is, in these bidding wars here, people wearing masks, the bidding war, it's crazy. So let's move on here. United States, wow, housing market sizzles despite the pandemic. Again, the pandemic, if you still believe it's happening, good luck with that. House prices continue to rise in all of the country's 20 major cities, according to the Standard & Poor's, with Phoenix posting the highest increase of 8.69%. Then you got cities like, obviously, Seattle. Tampa is going up big time. Charlotte, 5.74%. Cleveland, 5.4 points. Minneapolis, 5.39. San Diego, 4.9. Look at that. Miami, all these cities going up. The 20 biggest cities are seeing a massive increase in pricing. South Florida homebuyers finding themselves in bidding wars. This is from 3 days ago. And Elliot Rodriguez from the royal family to real estate. If you were with us last night at 11 o'clock, you saw the report about rising home prices in South Florida and how many buyers end up in bidding wars. And bidding wars are a new thing. You would think that the price of lumber going up, the price of this, the price of that, the COVID, the mass unemployment, people without work, uncertainty in the American government, you would think that housing will start to stabilize and find a correction and the median tied to wages. Because here it is, folks. If you're living in America, your housing is no longer tied to wages anymore. Your housing is no longer tied to wages. That's it. It's no longer tied to wages. Middle America, Amerifornia will be coming. Canada, if housing was tied to wages, let's say like housing was tied to like what we make here, our minimum wage would be over $120 an hour. But that's not going to happen. Wages have never kept up with housing prices, but housing prices here are so crazy. You guys have no idea. A teardown starts around $1.5 to $2 million. So let's keep going here. So there it is. South Florida homebuyers finding themselves in bidding wars. The housing market stands at a tipping point after a stunningly successful year during the pandemic. 1 year after the COVID crisis shut down and warped so much of the American life, things are still unpredictable, but the outlook isn't bright for housing. In fact, it looks like a perfect storm for correction. And we covered the perfect storm in housing for Canada 3 years ago. We were in a perfect storm 3 years ago in 2017. 4 years ago in 2017. We were in a perfect storm in Canada. And it never happened. We're a perfect storm in Australia. We're a perfect storm for correction. This is in Alabama. Land crush. Developers, financiers, and planners are resigning to the inevitable. Buying land in a triangle would mean paying record prices. So there it is. People buying up land. And there's a huge, huge land crunch. In Alabama here. Where else? So let me explain to you what happened in Canada so you can connect the dots. Canada was competing for Chinese worker students while they were deporting Europeans out the other side. And they were bringing in $500,000 per year. And it's the biggest market in the world. They spend a lot of money and they buy our real estate. So this is what happened in Canada. And then Canada would be in a recession without money laundering. So we've caught about $200 billion. Now you're thinking $200 billion laundered through real estate isn't that much. But with a population of 35 million, that's actually a lot of 35 million, limited housing in Canada, limited cities. Texas has more cities than Canada and Australia put together. Okay, that's for people living in America, so you know. That's how bad it is in Canada, and we're limited here, and that's why Canadians are being forced into homelessness. Now, look at this. Austin's most expensive home, 9-acre lakefront, sells for $38.9 million. I saw a house sold for $26 million in Vancouver, and it wasn't like this. It was like junk on 1.5 acres. But I'm just letting you guys know. And this is what's happening in Toronto. Toronto one-bedroom condo sells for a recording-breaking $730,000. Recording, not record. Recording-breaking. So there it is. And it's happening. It's getting so far out of control that to borrow $730,000, you're looking at a $3,200 a month mortgage in Canada. And more in Canada, we're taxed so heavily on our wages. We're taxed on the dollar. We're taxed on gas. We're taxed on everything you could. That's Amerifornia. That's Amerifornia I'm talking now. Now, here it is. Even foreign buyers are dumping Vancouver to the suburbs. Now, the suburbs are getting out of reach for the locals in Canada, and it's becoming really bad. Now, we've been covering Amerifornia here for a while now since the new president-elect. Now, let me bring up the articles here on the channel here. And let me see if I could find entice area. Sorry, I got a video playing there in the background. Let me see if I could find Seattle. Because we covered Seattle quite a bit because we saw what was happening with the foreign investors. There it is right there. Seattle's middle class disappearing. Seattle needs more Chinese. So the housing in Seattle before COVID was going down. Oh, this is older because I haven't been there in 2 years. So there he is. So there it is. Seattle needs more Chinese. Seattle housing crisis. Chinese buying dries up. And then obviously Seattle housing crash. Seattle housing crash. And I've been forecasting a crash in Seattle. King County housing collapse 2 years ago. So it's been really, really tough. Seattle housing market in trouble. 3 years ago. 3 years ago. Holy crap. And that's what's happening here. It's been really bad. And I think this is the article. Here we go. Here we go. This is it, guys. The article is foreign buyers overlooking Vancouver and heading to Seattle in frantic pace. And we're talking tens of thousands. Amerifornia is coming. So what is Amerifornia? Let me type in Amerifornia here on the channel. Let me go here so I can search across my channel. Amerifornia. Amerifornia is coming. So it's all over the place on this channel. And housing is set to double. So there it is, guys. Watch this video at the end. I want you to watch after the new president-select came into power. Select, not elect. President-select came into power. Now that, I guess, America is liberal-run, it will become like all the other English-speaking liberal countries. High taxes, poverty, homelessness, and drug use, and just housing will make up America's GDP. In another 5 years, it will be 70 to 85% of America's GDP will be made up by housing. And that's where Canada's at right now, Australia and New Zealand. They say Australia's 87%. I don't know. I think it's 85, but anyways. So here it is. Marcus in Arizona. Was that a bidding war? With my wife, pregnant wife, home went $66,000 over asking. Janet in Mobile, Alabama, went to see a home. It turned into a bidding frenzy, $31,000 over asking. It's crazy, Mike. Amerifornia is coming. Ned Davenport in Amarillo, home went $51,000 over asking, and the house isn't worth the house and the land isn't even worth $100,000. So it went $51,000 over asking from Ned Davenport in Amarillo. So that's what's happening across America, guys. This is major. Amerifornia is coming. I need you guys to really wake up, America, because bidding wars, the cost of living is going to go up. It will happen. Watch one of these videos at the end here. Thanks for watching, guys, and let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and share these videos.